Yo, what is up you guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're gonna be going over all things flounder. So the flounder run is fast approaching. It's gonna be here, I believe, November 1st to December 14th or 15th, something along those lines. And this season, again, we're not allowed to keep any flounder during the flounder run, which is a shame, but that's why I really wanna get ahead of the game on this video and kind of go over some flounder tactics, some rigs that we can use to get on those flounder and what kind of setup I'm gonna be using. I know that right now in September, I'm gonna start targeting flounder to really brush the dust off of those flounder techniques. It's something that I know how to do. I've got a great idea of what I'm supposed to be doing. I just want to go through the motions and kind of get used to it. So when October timeframe comes and then the November timeframe, I'm not gonna be able to keep anything, but I'm personally gonna be going after my new PB of flounder. It's a great time to do it. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. To give y'all a better idea of flounder and what they're doing under that water, I want to go ahead and give y'all this little visual real quick to help you kind of understand. So flounder is a flatfish that likes to sit on the bottom, usually in moving water. They like this because, you know, those currents don't really matter to those guys. They sit flat on the bottom and all of that water rushes right over them. It's not really going to affect them in their positioning or, you know, the amount of energy that they're going to have to use. Whereas like a trout would have to stand in that moving water and really exert himself to kind of keep up with that current and keep his place in there. A flounder just sits on the bottom like a lazy boy and he doesn't really have to worry about it. So moving water is key. And what they like to do is wait for the bait fish that don't have the flat body that can just sit in the moving water to get swept away over them when they will come and strike that bait. Now, how we can use this to our advantage is to kind of look for those key areas where we can imagine bait getting swept through and where a flounder would be more likely to post up and wait. Also, before we move on, let's just go ahead and go over the strike zone for a flounder and kind of how their eyes work and where they're going to be looking for bait. So the eyes are on the top of the head. Their line of sight is going to be a little bit more vertical rather than horizontal. If you are running your lure on the bottom and you are dragging it pretty much, you run the chance of bumping into those guys and kind of spooking them before they ever get the shot to look at your lure. So to avoid that, you can either give your lure a tap tap, bring it up in the water column and let it fall, tap tap, and do that as you retrieve. Or you can just go with the slow and steady retrieve that's gonna keep that lure off the bottom and kind of just swim it right in that strike zone. All right, fellas, so here is West Bay Galveston. Now with this little segment that we're doing here, my goal isn't really to give you guys like a super sweet honey hole that you're gonna be catching the biggest flounder, tons of flounder. It's really just to give you a general idea and a couple of freebie spots that you can go out and have a good day and really kind of start practicing the skills that you're gonna wanna have to get on these flounder and really be confident in yourself when the flounder run does come. Again, the flounder run is gonna be from November 1st to December 14th or 15th. There's an app, you can check it out yourself. But that is pretty general information. And you know, you're not allowed to keep any flounder during the run this year again, but you can get a real shot at catching your PB, which is awesome. Everyone wants a new PB. I know I'm personally looking for a real doormat flounder to one day put up on the wall and feel cool about, but we're still trying to make that happen. So where are some areas that you can expect these flounder to be when the weather starts getting colder? And also, before we go further, I want to say October. October is open season. You go ahead and the weather should be starting to get cooler. You can go and use these spots and this tactic to kind of target flounder and catch a bunch. I know lots of guys love flounder. They're tasty fish. They don't got to worry about worms. They don't get infested with those. Infested with those. And you know, you can catch as many as you want, or at least a limit, your 5 flounder. So where are they going to be? I really like to focus on these inlets. I found that a lot of those guys are going to be either moving in or out of here. I don't know the exact science of what they do. Maybe one of you smarter fellows put it in the comments, but there's a big movement of flounder when the water starts to cool down, and you can expect them to be coming in and out of here. A good spot that I'll give you guys as like a freebie, you can go and have some fun here and practice your skills, is going to be this south jetty. You don't need a boat, you don't need a kayak. You come park over here, take the road. Where's the road? Here it is. So drive your truck, whatever. I will say maybe have 4-wheel drive. This sand can get weird. Park here, walk out to the jetties, and you can even walk and fish the jetties. It's a little slippery. Or you could jump in the water and wade fish here. And on a big tidal movement, you're gonna have these little cuts of, where is it? There we go. These little cuts in the jetty and the rocks themselves where bait will get flushed through. You can find flounder just chilling over here on this little nice lagoon, and they'll just be killing the bait. You can use live bait. Some finger molds are great. Or what I like to use is just all artificials. And yeah, you can really slay some flounder wading around or bank fishing here in this spot. The keys are like this moving waters and structure. So keep that in mind as we go through some more of these spots. Moving water that is deep and structure. So the next spot that is a very well-known one, and lots of guys you will see lined up in this channel fishing for flounder during the run, is you can come out here, park on this road, and wade fish all of this area. You could pay for parking if you're really concerned at Seawolf and kind of jump out and fish, whatever you want to do. However you want to handle your problems, go and do it. But areas like this, and as you move in here, if you have a kayak, all of this structure, all of these docks, the piers, everything is going to be holding these flounder. They love this moving water. It's nice and deep, and they have structure to go and hang out around where bait fish are going to be more inclined to kind of hide out from those big old flounders. So moving on into the bays a little bit more, you can find them. They will be pushed up into these little creeks and stuff, and they like to get into this warmer water. So if you find an area in these, like I said, I don't want to give away any honey holes, but if you find an area in here where there's rocks or maybe some structure that those trout can be holding on to, and you know, when the tides are changing and there's a big either flushing out of bait or some bait getting flushed in, where are those choke points? Where is some structure with deep water that I can go and post up and rely on flounder to be going in? Just keep an eye out when you're doing your research on Google Maps and look for that kind of stuff. Next really well-known one is going to be over here in San Luis. So the San Luis Pass, you can come and wade these. I will say, wading in the San Luis Pass, be very careful. I can't tell you how many stories there are of guys going out, getting drunk, partying on the beach, you know, losing their children or losing their own lives in an effort to find their children. And it's just really sad stuff. You just got to be careful, man. No flounder is worth your life. Like, seriously, just be smart about this. But that being said, this is a good area that you can come and wade around. But again, like, seriously, I know I was joking and laughing, but it's a serious matter. Don't get yourself killed. As far as, you know, in a kayak, you got this pass feeding this area, and you've got all of these little areas. So a mouth right here. This is low-key a honey hole. I would fish this. I would fish this seriously. And then this right here. Look, you got a shot at catching a big flounder, but these are pressured areas. So you really, you know, you'll get in numbers, and it's a great spot to practice. I really want to drive that home. But like this pass here, deep water, you got the structure of these little houses and stuff like that. Great spot to come and try your hand at the flounder. And then if you're willing to drive down here to the Brazos, this Brazos is feeding, and that's all I'm going to show you. That's all I'm going to show you. Do your own research on Google Maps and go and find this stuff. I've personally found that, you know, I've got my dad. He's been doing this a lot longer than me, and he does do guiding. He's got his little virtual guide stuff on Patreon. And, you know, he really does try and help me out and give me these ideas. But I found that, you know, what really sticks with me is when I've got that aha moment myself and my own intuition kind of uncovers these secrets or finds a spot. And that's really what, you know, helps that knowledge stick with you. And it just means a little bit more, at least to me personally. Hopefully you guys feel the same. But yeah, these are some areas that you can come in and catch these flounder. So really nice ones to target. So let's go ahead and go look at our setups that we're going to want to be using. All right, so rigs and setups that you're going to want to be using for flounder. And before we even get into this, you really need to evaluate your position and like what you want to do during the flounder run while these guys are moving around. You can either before flounder fishing kind of gets shuts off by Texas Parks and Wildlife, you're not allowed to keep anything. In that October time frame, you can really tear them up and catch a lot of numbers just by throwing out like a what is that? The little grub from Gulp, Berkeley Gulp, these curl-tail grub, I believe. I would start buying those now, go to Academy and get them, because in October, November timeframe, you're really not gonna be able to find them. You'll be hard pressed to. Guys just buy them up because flounder love those things. You can get a lot of numbers of that like perfect 15 to like 18-inch flounder right there. It's a pretty nice size fish, something you could definitely keep. And if you're gonna wanna be going for a bigger fish, like a bigger flounder, that's gonna be your new PB. That's what I'm going for personally. you're gonna wanna throw like some swim baits. So think soft plastic, 4 to 5 inch paddle tails. Something I wanna personally experiment with this flounder run is gonna be a really big gulp, like a 4 or 5 inch gulp curl tail grub. I'm not sure, it's a little unconventional. Most guys are just gonna be throwing those swim baits, like I said, but you can really do your own experimenting, try your hand out there and see what happens. And as far as the rod and reel goes, so this right here is my Daiwa Fuego. Doesn't say on here, I believe it's a 3000 or a 2500. Either one would work just fine. And I've got her spooled up with 10-pound braid on a 20-pound leader, either fluoro or mono, whatever you have confidence in. And that should do just fine. Trout or flounder are a lot like trout, where you're never really gonna get them to fight too hard. And if you do got one pull and drag, it's one of those like, oh, I think I got a red situations. You see your flounder and you start freaking out and you reach for that net. But if you guys did enjoy the video or you learned something new, please drop a like for me, it helps a ton. And go check out our Facebook group. I've really been wanting to try and grow the channel to be more of like a community where we can all post pictures, share stories and stuff like that. So if you go out and you catch some flounder during this new flounder run here, go post your picture, let me know you caught it, and I would be really happy to see that. Thanks again, and you guys have a great rest of y'all's day. Peace.